Hey y'all, brought back the classic Text the Table head bob to the theme.
Hey y'all.
Hey everyone. Happy Black History Month.
Happy Black History Month.
Happy Black History Month.
Happy Black
Before we started, y'all do you realize this is our third Black History Month with Text to Table?
Is it really?
That's pretty cool. I didn't think I realized that.
Huh. Yeah. It's been so long.
Right.
Yeah.
So thank you all for being with us. That means you guys have been along this journey with the third Black History Month with Text to Table, that you all have been a part of that as well too. And in reflection of that, I feel like a lot has happened since our last episode, which if you haven't known, we've kind of revised some things. And now Text to Table is someone on when a spirit moves us kind of moment. So the spirit definitely moved us for a Black History moment where we had to bring up a show for you all, but otherwise you can follow us on social and emails. But just thinking about since our last episode, we've had mad changes all the way around the co-host. So why don't we give everybody a little update on that?
Can we first talk about how raggedy we were trying to get the show started? It's been so long. We didn't know how to get our lighting correct. We didn't know how to get our mics on. We were on mute like 5 times. I mean, I just feel like we did this in the height of the pandemic when everybody was Zooming. And now here we are, third Black History Month show. We could not get this together at all. So give us grace, y'all, if it doesn't work.
Please.
Like Nene.
And thank you.
That was real, Michelle. That was real. Straight up.
That's the transparency. Yours on that. So where have we been? So let me see. I'm in the same place. So I'm still with, my realtor family, and I've been here. I'm doing well, loving it. We have been just knee deep in all the stuff we've been doing. And I see a lot of my realtors are already in the chat already. So, hey, y'all. Hey, thanks for coming on over here and seeing my other side and some other things I do and anything I say. I'm sure y'all will hold it against me, but be good to talk to you.
Michelle, you always bring your following, so we can count on that.
That's true. Who has a new job?
Sean.
I'll go next. Yeah, significant life change for me. I started a new CEO job in July of last year, and I've been running nonstop since, and it's been an amazing journey. And thanks to you all for the support and for always being there when I need to reach out and say, hey, I need a check-in here. So yeah, that's the biggest change for me.
That's the text. That's what we're here for.
Woo-woo. Irving, you go next.
Sure. I also have, I think there's a theme going around for the next go round here, is that we all have new jobs. Probably the biggest one for me is, I think, I don't know if you guys think about this with transition. I actually left the organization that I was with and still love near and dear to my heart. It's a sad day today. We had a former board president pass away, so it's a heavy heart today.
Sorry.
But it was an organization that professionally I transitioned from, and it was one of those moves where it was the right time to go from more of a calling perspective, and I didn't have the next move yet figured out. So there was a lot of conversation and things that I wrote that people reached out to me about, and I think particularly thinking about, I never thought about it, thinking about with this show, when you are Black and in leadership position, like knowing when it's time to go, but also what that represents because you are Black and what that means and sort of the extra kind of weight that comes with that. All that being said, not too long after that, I did find a new position where I'm in the foundation and philanthropy world now, and in the healthcare now with a major healthcare foundation and organization. And I'm a senior fellow, and I'm exploring a topic on health misinformation. So it's a completely new space for me that I'm excited in the opportunity that I'm digging into right now.
Do you still consider yourself in associations?
I do. I was actually I was on a call earlier this week. So part of the work that I'm doing, if you think about like just how things happen within healthcare and kind of moving that forward in any way, shape, or form, whether it's around, for me, building trust, or how do you combat misinformation, what industry is on the ground reaching all the people you want to reach in a wide scale way, and that's association. So I'll definitely be partnering and working with associations. And the other thing I was telling someone is really association is a mindset. I feel like it's a ends to a means where most people in associations, as cliche as it sounds, they want to change the world and make an impact. And if you think about big scale ways to do that, associations are like the main way to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. So we weren't going to let you go anyway. So it's not happening.
Hello, everyone. So I'm sure everyone knows this by now. For the past 10 months, I've been doing some diving into consulting, working specifically with boards of directors on strategic planning, board governance, operations design, etc. Irving and Michelle, you all might not remember this, but I was thinking about this the other day. Do you all remember when we did that panel? We were all like Michelle, you weren't a first-time CEO, but we were CEOs, and we did like a panel together.
Yeah.
I think it was Chicago ASA annual meeting.
Yep.
And someone asked you, Michelle, if you really wanted your career to kind of be tracked in real estate, right? And going from the Seattle real estate organization you were with to Chicago. And when I answered the question, I said, well, I really would like to see myself kind of dabbling in a lot of different types of professions and industries. And I thought about that and I was like, wow, that's what I'm really getting to do now through consulting or in the consulting space. So I'm having a great time in the consulting space, but also still open for, opportunities. But now I just get the chance to really make sure that the opportunity is tailored for me and right for me before stepping into it. So
that's cool.
Yeah, that's what I've been up to and enjoying it a lot. Shout out to Vistakova and Rhonda.
Hey.
And Irving, I want to lean into something that you said a little while ago, because it sparked something for me when you talked about, being a Black leader and knowing when it's time to kind of step out and kind of lean into the next thing. And it's interesting because, and even for you, Dante, the conversations we had many times about working with recruiters and hearing that they can't find us. They came looking for us this time. They did. Yeah. And I think it's a sign of some change, but we still have a long way to go.
Yeah, absolutely.
So definitely looking. Well, you know what I've been saying, like 2020, 2021, it became cool to have DEI and it became cool to look for the minorities. And it was cool to outright ask for it. And former employee of mine always said, never let a good crisis go to waste. And I think that is kind of what occurred more and more and more. And so now I think they are coming to find us and they are looking for us. The difference is, are we all ready? You know what I mean? Are we all ready to go? And Irving, you set such an example of just saying, like, I have been here. It's time for me to move to the next move and bring someone else in. And I've watched you also transition someone else in. So what he didn't tell you all is that he was working like 3 jobs at once. He was
doing all the transparency today.
I mean, we've been gone a long time, so I'm not going to tell them all our business, but I'm going to be close to it. And so that, I think, is just such a thing that we as African Americans have to do. Like, we want to leave a good footprint and we want to leave a good legacy, but we also know we don't need to be here for 30, 40, 50 years anymore. Right. Because there's people that are ready to step in behind us. There's people that are prepared. There's people that, even if they aren't prepared, they got us to help us get through there.
Yeah, I just wanted to touch on that point because I think it wasn't until I actually did make the announcement and I left that I realized what the comment that you said, it felt so natural. And I'm sure you think about this, like Sean, we've all thought about this. But when we talk about particularly like Texas Table and the Black experience, there is something unique about the Black experience. And, I don't think it's solely generationally either. But to your point around, we're not trying to place our sole identities on any role, professional role or title or organization. And we're almost from the very beginning, even though, the four of us don't fit a traditional profile of kind of people who would kind of leave before, they have their next job. But we think all the time about how we're going to leave something, and it's bigger than us. Mm-hmm. And just to like double down on that, that is a newer kind of leadership, I think, model where you did have a model where it was about the individual and what they represented and kind of celebrating that person, and that person, was there for a very long time. And I think particularly within Black leaders and just what others have shared with me, also with Black women, I'll just be specific too, where there is such a thoughtfulness behind what we leave behind for us and who is behind us, right? Where even when we're in it, like that is what we're working at, even when we're in a job. And I think that is so unique, and it fits the moment, and it literally is a part of the Black experience of leadership.
I feel like since so many of us were the first, we were the first Black CEO of this association, that association ever. There's so much, we talked about this in one episode, what that pressure looks like, but we're starting to see now we're getting second and thirds and fourths, and the pressure is still there because we're still in the single digits. We're still 2023 adding the first in there. But I think it's important for whoever does go first to make sure that when you leave that space, you're coming right back to help them. You're coming right back if they need you. You are right there, because the road is still very long. It's still very long. And I think the grace is not always there for us.
Absolutely.
Definitely not. Can we talk a little bit about gearing up for this show and kind of what we've seen? And I see we have a lot of new people I'm seeing in the chat. I see a lot of people that have come through, never have been with us before, probably. Real quick, what we are. So we should be still 4 Black CEOs in the association industry. And this whole thing started because we were texting each other about the video when George Floyd was murdered. And we were texting each other about, what are you going to say to your staff? How do you feel? What are you going to do? And these are the conversations we've always had. And then one random day, we decided to record our conversations. And next thing you know, we put it up. We threw a logo in there, and here we are. And so we keep it going, and we've been a little quiet. But we came back for Black History Month, and we posted our flyer like we always do. And this time we called out Black History Month. And I mean, the amount of, we could call them internet trolls, I could just call them racist, that popped up was not surprising and something that we expected, but it was way more than it typically is. And we had our text exchange about, do we cancel this? Do we hide this? Do we delete them? And the answer abundantly was no, unhide it. Because we're gonna have to show y'all some of these posts that they got. It's kind of heartbreaking. If I'm
warning, honest. It is. Put the very warning.
Graphic. Yeah, very graphic.
Yeah,
but it's the reality. And if you think about where we were and where we are now, and with all of the talk and all of the allies and all of the stuff that people have claimed to invested in themselves to be better, and yet look at these horrible messages. It's worse than ever, I think. I mean, we didn't see these types of messages back in 2020 when we were just getting started, and some have gotten very comfortable with just being ignorant and being hateful. And we wanted to share that with you on purpose, because this kind of thing still exists, and we're for people in this moment, but imagine others online who get this kind of treatment, just by being themselves, just by speaking their truth, just by being honest. And it's unfortunate because we have so much more work to do.
Yeah.
And that's why I think, who was it, Irving or whatever? Like, I remember at one point in one of our episodes, it was like, stop talking about what you're going to do. Just show me. Like, actions mean so much more. And I've been there, of course. Like, I don't want to hear about what certificates you got. I don't want to hear what training you went through. let your actions speak for themselves. And, you know, if you haven't hired a Black person, if you've had an opportunity to hire a Black person since 2020, that in itself is very telling.
Yeah. I think one of the things that was so prominent here is that, you know, we hear a lot of people saying like, is our work done, right? Or when will we be done with DEI work and that kind of thing? But as you can see here, it's never going to be done. These people, whether we know it or not, like some of these people might belong to an association, right? They might be members of some sort of association or some sort of organization, right? And they're putting this kind of stuff out on social media without any care of who knows that it's them doing it and
Right.
And so, you know, our work with DEI is never done. Our work with racism is never done. And this also proves how much of a disease it is in our society.
There was one that was really triggering. There was a Valentine of George Floyd, and you know, it said "take my breath away," trying to indicate like it was a Valentine. And you know, if you don't agree with Black History Month or you don't think it should be up, it's just some of the choices that come through. You know, we're used to it. We let stuff roll off our backs, but some stuff still stings. And, you know, some things bring emotions that you didn't really realize you were still processing or thinking through. And, you know, like I said, we left it up there and that one came today. There were plenty that came up today. I think we had some concerns about who may be in the show and they may be there. So I'm so glad that we have so many of you all that are here to keep our comments focused and keep us focused on, you know, the positive that comes from this and celebrating who we are and what we are. And I think as that goes, I think it's more and more important for us to just continue to uplift each other and continue to have these conversations and don't back down from them.
Yeah. I know when I saw the first message, Michelle, it was triggering for me as well. And I had to quickly remind myself, I have done too much work over the past few years. Go to your meditation, go to your positive affirmations. Those who follow me know that I'm always posting something positive. That was a result of everything that was happening to me, you know, back in 2020. I went to a very dark place and knew that I needed to do some work to pull myself out of that. So I found my prescription for just self-care and happiness, but that one almost took me back. And I was like, don't do it. Don't go there. And just stop looking at the rest of them because I knew that there would be more. And it was kind of the beginning of, all right, here we go. Let's armor up and get ready for this show because we're still going to speak our truth. We're still going to be ourselves and we're still going to be excellent in the space that we're in.
I think, Sean, a good point that you bring up too is like, seeing those kind of things re-traumatizes you, right? I think I saw on the news where they were saying that, you know, people seeing a Black person beat up on the TV induces trauma for Black people, right? It's a triggering thing to see that on TV and to see the types of comments is also re-triggering. I have to admit too, I felt heavy, like, right, reading those comments all weekend. I was just like, I gotta stop. I gotta step away like you did. I had to take some space for myself, but it is re-triggering to see that all the time. And as Black people, we see this all the time, every day, right? In some sort of fashion.
I think for me, just listening to, you know, the comments, I was a little desensitized to it because of similar to what Sean said of just kind of like tuning it out. But the larger point that I actually think of is just listen to what everybody just said and how much work that required, like whether it was mental energy, whether it was physical energy, whether it was spiritual energy, listen to how much work just something like a comment caused, right? And I think the part that sometimes gets missed in these conversations is while the comments that we just received happen and exist, it's in the world, that's not as visible for many people. So there feels like an othering of, oh, well, that is this other situation. In reality, the world is more rosy and progress and all the things that do exist in the same space. But if you factor in, those comments represent an institution of how we've been treated for many, many years. And that the energy that it takes while we're doing all the other things that everyone else in the world does, like, what does that do to us just from like an exhaustion level, right? And I think that's what people miss when some of the things aren't quite as like grand or big or like in your face. They miss like there's an exhaustion level around the ways we either have to regulate, modulate, you know, do all these different things on top of everything else the world gives us that all human beings have to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you all, I'm curious to know, did you all hear from anyone when the unfortunate situation went down again with Tyree Nichols? Did people reach out to you to see how you were doing?
You know, I had someone, no one asked me how I was doing. I had someone ask me my thoughts on it because they were Black cops. So there was a lot of that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what's your opinion? Do you not think it's the same, or do you think it's the same? And really, when I would give my response, which was, it's not okay still, people were kind of, the people I were talking to, they were a little bit like, they wanted me to go deeper than that. And I think I was just like, that's all I got for you.
Yeah.
Like today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Luckily, I had my friend also who's in the chat, Claudia Zacharias. Thank you for being here, Claudia. But I can always depend on her, if no one else, to reach out and say, hey, how you doing? I saw this on the news, or let's talk about this, or let's explore this. I really appreciate, having someone to be able to do that with and talk through those kind of things with. Sometimes she does double as my therapist, I have to admit. In that regard, but
thank you, Claudia.
Right. But yeah, I had Claudia to kind of talk through with that, and also some other, Black colleagues as well.
Yeah, but I think we're. I didn't think about it just now. I think we're now reaching this sort of middle road of. I would say it's a split between like what's the authentic nature of people versus fatigue. I think, and where because Sean, when you asked it, I was like, well, I actually didn't expect. I don't have an expectation that somebody reached out to me, so that's not really a thing. But I would want the same energy that people had in 2020, and I think people are figuring out what that looks like for them in the good sense. And I think on the other side, people are just tired and they're like, well, I'm not gonna say nothing because why are we still talking about this? Like, this was cute,
Right.
20, but now that we moved on from like Black squares and hashtags, there's a split.
Well, that's what I mean. And I guess I had a bit of an expectation, not a lot, but just after all of that, and then it happened again. Even though it was Black police officers, it still happened. And I refused to watch the video because why put myself through that? And that same level of empathy wasn't there this time around. So, it goes back to, now that we're kind of settling back into what may be perceived as normal, does that mean that all of the stuff didn't matter before? The Black squares, all the DEI certificates, all of the things that people talked about. And I question, was it performative? Or if it was sincere, you got to follow that through, because this is the lives that we lead every freaking day. We don't get a chance to just chill and be like, ooh, I'm going to catch my breath. No, it's every single day. We're having to deal with some sort of microaggression or something in the news, or you name it. Like, it's always something. And that's why I had a tiny bit of an expectation, and it just didn't come through.
You know what, though? One thing that I did think about is takeaway. There's some people who are just fatigued with it. It was performative. It was, they were just in it for the limelight. I do think there's another group where, hopefully people are sincere. They want to know what to do. It reminds me of how people are they don't know how to respond to grief. So when someone, has someone pass away, sometimes people just don't reach out because they don't know what to say at all, because it's awkward, or you don't, you maybe you haven't talked in a while, you just don't know. So I do think there's a part of this that kind of moves in that direction of like, how do you handle, like, if you're still committed to this, these moments happen. Yeah, talk feels like very weak at this point. Like, what do you kind of do in these moments?
It's like when they say, Black people say, I'm gonna pray for you. Like, that's the prayer. There's some good comments though in the chat. We just pray for all of y'all, just in case you know. And the realtors are here. Hey y'all. Hi. And Dante facilitated something for us, so he is seeing now that he is in the family period. They are. How many hi Dantes is in the
rocking my little shirts and everything too. Like I'm a member.
Keep rocking it. There is a comment. Hey, on April, it says, with respect to the Black cop situation, a police officer from another city reminded me that Black officers are trained by whites. That was definitely some conversations I know that I've heard around saying that once you get into a certain field, who you're trained by, do you think that changes your outlook on how you see who is considered in the lower caste? And I'm reading Isabella Wilkerson's Caste. I've been trying to finish it for like a year. It's depressing as hell because it's current.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get done in Black History Month. But any thoughts on that comment?
That, and you know what, that is absolutely so true, because one of the things I think about is how cops who have to deal with every type of race, personality, person in our society are not trained and not assessed for any type of bias, right? Like there's no type of bias training, no type of assessment to figure out how this cop is going to engage, or how this person who wants to become a cop is going to engage with the larger society. And I think there's a huge disservice and gap there for us, the public, right, which they're supposed to be protecting, that unfortunately causes these kind of situations. So I think that's spot on, April. Thank you for putting that into the space.
And I think there's something about power dynamics as well. You know, yes, being trained by white police officers will have its imprint on you, but I think there's something about once you put that badge on and you have power over other people, whether they look like you or not, that's where a lot of the abuse comes in, because otherwise you wouldn't have that same power if you didn't have that uniform on, or if you wouldn't have that badge on. How many times have we heard other people who are current police officers get pulled over by a police officer and they still were disrespected?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Well, let's slide into Black History Month. Let's try to get a little bit more. Get out of the
in and out because
celebration, rock into it. Oh Lord, here's some. Oh, Quinn came through. I'm sorry, I gotta go right back. What did he say? He watched the video only to adjust me to reality. That's deep. That's deep. To make sure that I continue to focus that there is various forms of oppression and hatred, that they are not external. It's the internal mentality from time to time, not always the outsiders. I got to pop back on that one, because that whole piece, to adjust me to reality, that's a deep one.
Yeah.
And hard.
Yeah. And a hard reality. Thanks for sharing that, O'Quinn. All right, y'all. Bounce back to Black History Month real quick. Let's get in there. So this year's theme has been around like Black resistance, and there's been a lot about Black History Month. And I have been telling people how I celebrate Black History Month is first to try to like read something. So like I said, I'm getting through Caste. The other piece to that is be unapologetically Black this month, especially. And then to, request Black privilege things. So there's times like when airlines may not want to like take care of me, I'll say, well, that's really not how I want to spend my Black History Month. And then they go and change it. And it's just phenomenal. And, I travel with Madam President to Arizona. We had some great experiences. And when things didn't work out, we said, that's not really how we want to spend our Black History Month. And then things would happen. So it's a nice little 28 days where you can see what it feels like. What y'all do for Black History Month?
I'm gonna have to use that.
I've literally have never done that, but
I love it. Yes,
Y'all never done that?
No.
Oh, everything.
No.
Not with that justification. I've done it, but not with justification.
Oh, everything. Oh, can we get a refill? There's no free refill. Oh, but it's Black History Month. And they go get the refill.
Oh gosh.
What are y'all doing to celebrate?
Ain't nobody topped that, Michelle. Like
I know.
I would last.
I just think it's due.
Listen. So for me, I know that I try to spend my time daily thanking the ancestors, the people who came before me, and also learning about people from Black history that I did not know about before. So also, I'm gonna drop a name into the space, Norris B. Herndon. If you don't know who Norris B. Herndon is, look him up. Black gay millionaire from back in the day that really substantially supported Black civil rights.
Yes.
The Black civil rights movement. So I recently learned about him. The universe sent him to me through social media. So that was an easy day for me. But that's how I spend my time, is just honoring and thanking the folks who came before me, and allow me to be where I am today and learning about somebody new that I didn't know about.
I love that. That's a good one. What else? What did your organizations do for Black History Month? Did they do anything? Because it's cool now, you can do it. You're allowed.
Well, not specifically my organization. I think what more people are doing now, which I don't think, and people probably were doing before, I feel like I see it all the time now. And so they're highlighting specific people. So whether it's Black History Month, Latino History Month, Women History Month, like now individuals are being highlighted, to whether it's, a foundation and your grantees, or if your association and your members. I feel like I'm seeing more individual people celebrated more this month, which has been nice to see.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that too. What are your opinions on like when some of the stores? So last year there was like a big uproar because Bath and Body Works had Black History Month candles. Target always comes with the clothes. There are some people, Black people, that hate that, and they say, you're pandering, or where you're just trying to, commercialize this. I love it. I love it. Like Royce got like 3 or 4 Black History Month shirts. I got this one on today. What do y'all think about that?
I think there's a difference between Black History Month and Juneteenth. Those feel very different. And I think if you don't have the right amount of diversity on your staff, you will miss the difference.
Oh, boy.
So, personally, I think the Black History, and to your original question, I was like, okay, what have I done for Black History Month? I'm one of those people that just think everything is commercialized. So it's like, why is all these things there? So I don't make it like an extra deal. But one thing I will share before I answer your question, Michelle. What I do like, one my church goes to, and I know there's DC folks and they go to Alfred Street Baptist Church. A lot of Black folks don't know the Lift Every Voice and Sing, the song. And so
Black National Anthem.
All verses, all 3 verses. So what my church will do every week, they will, that will be the hymn of the day. And then each week, one verse goes away. So you start to lose one verse until the very end, the 4th week. There's no verse for you to see it. You have to say it all. So that is actually something that I enjoy, because I actually know all 3 verses. So I feel very like,
that's kind of cool.
God of our weary years.
Yeah.
So Marsha Fudge, current U.S. Secretary of HUD, when she's the past 21st National President for Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. And we always sing the Black National Anthem before everything. And then when she saw that we stopped after the first verse, she was so mad. She's on the dais. She went to the mic and basically cursed us all out for not knowing the rest of the song, demanded that it be printed so that we could at least fake like we knew it moving forward. And so now people are scared to sing and look at the words, because if she sees you looking down, she goes to the mic and basically curses you out again, not knowing these other anthems, but not knowing ours.
Right.
I am like traumatized. Marsha Fudge scares me a lot, but then that's one of the fears. Just singing the song, I'm triggered every time I hear it.
So, Michelle, to answer your question, I lean more towards Irving's perspective. Like, I don't like the commercialization and the profit on these companies on the back of Black history. I mean, it's just so it's perpetuating what's been done by this country, right, over centuries.
Yeah,
for sure. I would love to see them just do Black themed things all year round, right? Just lean fully into it when Black History Month gets here. That would feel a little better to me than them just doing it for Black History Month and then you don't see anything else, any type of products or anything celebrating Black people throughout the year. But after you go, Sean, I also want to know what y'all thought about, was it Cheryl Lee Ralph who sang the National Black Anthem at the Super Bowl? So I'm gonna let you go, Sean. I want to know what y'all thought about that.
I don't do anything specific. I mean, for me, it's all year round. And I do have an issue with how it's been commercialized, just like Juneteenth. If you can't invest that same level of creativity and money into the communities that need it, like selling T-shirts or selling whatever the tchotchke is, doesn't do anything for me. I did go to see a play that focused on the Tulsa Massacre last night called The High Ground, which was very intense. There were pretty much 2 people on stage the entire time. So you're focused intently on their interaction with each other. And those are the sorts of things that I like because it helps other people learn about stuff that they may not have learned about otherwise in a very, theatrical way. And when you think about what's happening around the country with banning books and, the whole AP African American studies, like we have a long way to go. And the fact that you try to carve out just the African American or Black stuff, it's history. When all is said and done, it's history of this country. And we're going to have a generation of young people that are ignorant to it. And when you don't learn about it, guess what? You repeat some of the same mistakes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's real. That is real. Okay, were you asking us about Sheryl Lee Ralph singing? So I actually didn't see that part. I was cooking.
Yeah, she sang it. I think before they did the national anthem, they let her sing the national Black anthem before the Super Bowl opened. Which I'm not thoroughly impressed with the NFL, but I was impressed that they pulled that kind of move.
Mm.
Is this the first time they've done it?
Yeah.
Okay.
They've done that I know of. Yeah.
I think that makes sense. The other thing that I was thinking about is like progress to me is when Black history is not siloed as if we're not a part of the country, right? Like Black history is the country's history. It's American history, right? And so something like playing the Black national anthem at more public places and venues does not feel exclusionary because people have understood this is our history. Whatever part you played in it, good, bad, or indifferent, you got to deal with it.
Right.
Yeah.
Pretty much. My boy Matt, why is it just 28 days, not 365? I know.
Classic one, the classic ones.
We know. There's some history, birthdays in February, reasons. Here we are, 28 days.
The shortest month.
Shortest month. That's why I get everything I can on my 28 days.
Why not?
It's my brother's birthday today. Terrell, happy birthday. We're supposed to go to dinner, and I definitely was going to be in there celebrating his birthday, but also Black History Month for appetizer.
So wait, your mom's birthday and your brother's birthday is also in February?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And my birthday, so yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's the best month.
So basically, I'm going to renegotiate all of my bills in February under the.
Yeah. Oh, that's a
good luck with that, Irving. If you work that one out, then I'll get on the bandwagon. But
I am calling Comcast tomorrow.
Okay.
Thank you. Thanks for the note. Let me make a note about that. That is so true. All right, y'all. So real quick, I don't know if anybody saw this. Someone sent it to me today. The NAACP Image Awards were last night. So kind of two things on that. A, do we still need our own award show? Short answer, duh, yes.
Yeah.
But what are the thoughts on that? And then two, the other thing, did anybody see Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union's acceptance speech? And kind of Gabrielle could be extra, right?
Yeah, right.
She's extra, but I love her. But her drill home was that we don't support transgender African Americans in the fight. And did y'all see that, or what are you thinking?
So I saw it, Michelle, and I continue to be amazed and very proud of the way Dwayne and Gabrielle show up for Zendaya. That's her daughter's name, right? That's yeah. I continue to be amazed, especially as Black celebrities, right? And high profile Black celebrities at that. Like the way they show up for their trans daughter and the community, to me, is just amazing. And when I saw it, I was just like, wow, another door kicked open, right? For especially the Black community, because we don't talk about those types of things amongst ourselves. So I thought it was phenomenal. I was, like I said, thoroughly impressed. And I hope a lot of parents use that as an example of how they need to show up for their kids as well.
I think there's not to take us off on a tangent, but I think in the Black community, there's still a whole lot of work that we have to do. I made the mistake so I watched the actual acceptance speech on IG because I didn't watch the award shows. I don't watch any award shows, but I looked at the comments, and the comments from us were appalling at just some of what people still believe. And it's sort of like, regardless of what you may think, that is their child. And they are supporting their child. Right. And I find it interesting until you have the experience with your own child, it's easy to point the finger and tell someone what they should or shouldn't do in terms of raising their child and all of that stuff. So we have a long way to go in our own community.
I think it also goes to the when we were talking about Tyree Nichols, that those are Black police officers where, and I said this like since the very, very beginning, like we do not define white culture in the same way we define other cultures. Like within other cultures, we talk about what's the, what are the things to work on and what are the things that we excel. Like white culture is just sort of like the status quo that becomes almost neutral. It means nothing. But there is sort of a power dynamic that comes with that. So if you think about the institution of cops and policing and what they represent, so Black people could represent that. I even think about this sometimes, and like, even though I'm a Black person, if you look at, I'm not originally from the DC area, buying an area that's gentrifying. Like, am I a gentrifier? Right? Like, I'm not a classic, what you identify, but am I one? But if you think about this with like, whether it's how the Black community treats trans, y'all are much more classy than me, but I also still watch The Real Housewives of Potomac. They had an episode about colorism on there and how that was still very well present on like a 2023 show about colorism. I think there's still this whole like power dynamic, the white culture, systemic, all kinds of things, and how we ourselves can embody all of that. So just because you're Black doesn't mean you can't embody any of that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because we are socialized in society, right, to based on white culture, right? First, when we learn about everything in school, it's based on what white people have constructed as our curriculum for us, right? And even to continue to try to do that to this day. I think the other point I wanted to bring up, Michelle, around Gabrielle and Dwayne's speech is that a lot of people still do not understand, especially in the Black community, that while we are trying to fight racism and marginalization of our people, right, Black trans people are included in that. Like the marginalization, even if we achieve, and eradicate racism, the continued marginalization of trans people means that there's still a threat to us still experiencing marginalization. And I don't know that we get that as a Black community, because we spend so much of our time prioritizing just the racial part of it, right?
Sure.
And not breaking down the sexual and gender piece of components of our community and including them in it as well. So we really have to start to understand that a lot better.
I love that. And we did get a correction on her name. It's Zaya.
Zaya,
not Zendaya.
Zendaya. I'm thinking about the other
different person.
She did the awards too. She had a cute dress on. Sorry, I digress. All right, so we're wrapping up on time. Why don't we talk a little bit about, we talked about where we've been, but where we're going. So we've had a lot of people asking us what's going on with Text the Table. Are there going to be any more shows? You guys heard we have so much going on, a lot of transition happening. And as Irvin said, we're kind of moving with the spirit. The way this started, it was organic. We just came in, we had something to say, we got on, we said it. Yeah. And we want to kind of keep that. We were starting to get a little bit too scripted, and that's not us, like forcing shows. So what we're going to do is just do it when it moves us. But we are planning something. So if you are going to be in Chicago, because next month is Ladies' Night, Women's History Month, and Ladies' Night with all the ladies. It's an all women panel are coming back, but we're going to be live at the Women's Executive Forum at Association Forum on March 24th. So it's the first time that we're doing a live show. So if you are going to Forum, come to our session. That's where you'll see us there. But another trick to that is we also are going to do a live show during ASAE. Not at the conference, but while we're all in, where are we going, Atlanta?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I mean, come on. We're going to be in Atlanta.
Yeah,
Atlanta. We are looking for a location. We are looking for sponsors. So if you all have anyone in the ATL that would like to sponsor a live studio audience taping of Text the Table while we're all there for ASAE, please reach out to us. We're going to do it first here in Chicago, but the four of us will be in Atlanta, and everybody's asking about these mugs. They will be for sale. You'll get them before then. You can get yourself a shirt, the whole nine. We're going to have all kind of products for you all to start to gather. But we're looking forward to that, and we're going to put out some of our future dates. We're also planning to come to you for Juneteenth and Pride Month. So we'll see you then as well. But outside of that, hopefully nothing happens and we don't have to come in here and talk about it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Something gonna happen. We're gonna have to talk.
We do have a filler show. Just in case. What do you all think? Are you all flying in for the live show?
I cannot make that one.
Mm-hmm. Y'all see how I got quiet right quick.
It's just transparent. It's transparent Tuesday. It ain't even Tuesday. It feels like transparent Tuesday. It's not a Tuesday.
I'm going too far on my transparency, I guess.
I think I actually will be in Chicago, Michelle. So I might see if I can show up. I'll talk to Artisha.
She'll be on the stage with us.
I'll pull up. Listen, if y'all want me on stage, I'll get up and show up.
Listen, I'll throw a chair up there. They'll be like, wait, hold up, wait.
Right.
What's going on?
Like, we got this. Don't worry about it. We got it.
And is.
Indeed. Anything else? Any last comments you all want to say on, since you're not commercializing Black History Month, but just anything period on Black excellence that any of you want to drop as we leave out? Well, I'm going to say work your 28. So you got one more day.
Ooh.
So if you need to go get something,
Okay.
work your 28.
Okay, well then I will say make your 28 all of 2023.
That part.
That works.
That part.
Anyone else?
I'll just say don't stop the work and don't stop believing.
There you go. Nice.
And for me, I'm just going to say keep hope alive.
I heard that.
Yeah.
Period.
Just keep hope alive. Keep pushing.
Here's my fist. Got it. Thank you all. Thanks so much for coming out. We appreciate all of you. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
All right.